name is John Yakere. I'm in SS1. The name of my school is BICO International School. I'm here to summarize on a novel titled The Second Class Citizen, and the author of the novel is called BICO INTERNATIONal. Well, this book is trying to tell us about a young girl who was born in Lagos during the Second World War II. Well, in her days, the female don't go to school. It's only the male that go to school. So she made that one little things that she sneaked out of the house. After sneaking out of the house, she went to a local school to go there to study. And after the lesson, the school closed very late, and she was so furious, and she was like, her mom and her dad is going to beat her. But the teacher asked her why, and she said that her parents don't want her to go to school. And the teacher intervened, so they allowed her to go to school. But unfortunately, her father died. While her father died, her father's dad took over everything, including her mom, to her mom's brother to stay with her mom's brother. While she was still studying, they said that while she was still studying, this would be a desirable decision for her to choose a suitor. But many suitors came, but she found no interest in them. After that, she didn't complete her school, she didn't go to university. So she found a boy called Francis Obi, an accounting student. So she married Francis Obi, and she said that this is the opportunity for her to go to the US to become a writer. Then when she married the family, she went to Francis Obi's family. She was staying with them while Francis Obi was still in school studying. Then small time, she gathered money and sent Francis Obi to the UK to go there to study. Then Francis Obi went there. Then later she gave birth to two kids for Francis Obi. So she found it as an opportunity for her to go to the UK. So she then she told Francis Obi that she let him look for a comfortable place where she and the children will be able to, will cope on. But she continued sending money to Obi to find an accommodation. So due to the fact that they were the second-class citizen, the American people, they don't like giving a well comfortable place to the Nigerians. So they gave him a one-room self-contained in that side. So when Ada came to the UK, she wasn't happy of what she was seeing. She thought that they were going to give her, a comfortable room filled with AC and all that. But all of a sudden, what she saw, she didn't believe it. Then Ada was now angry with Francis Obi. So when she said that she wants to go to the restaurants, but unfortunately, Francis Obi told her that restaurants are not made for Africans, that is only made for the British. And she was nervous. And in that side, Francis Obi was not contributing to the activities of what she was doing, because she's the one that is paying Francis Obi's school fees, taking care of the family, and paying the children's feeding. But Obi did not care about that, so that made the distraction, and she broke up with Francis Obi. Thanks. And my moral lesson in this is that this tells us, the moral lesson I learned from it tells us to be boldness, and we should treat everybody equally. Not only the females will go to school, not only the male will go to school, but we should allow the females also to be educated. Thanks.
My name is Mama Lawrence. I'm here to present on a poem named The Leader and the Led. The author of this novel is Neyi Osundari. Neyi Osundari determined that he could teach us about the poem, and the main thing is about cooperative ventures. Now, about the poem was composed by Neyi Osundari. He is about to tell us about the animal kingdom, how animals rule the kingdom. What I was trying to tell us is that the animals was about lacking leadership due to rivalry and imperfection. In this poem, the author is trying to tell us that the metaphorical presents a historical poem, because the leaders are busy fighting for political affairs, so they didn't have time to govern for any of them, and they were busy governing others, doing their rivalry and imperfection, so they didn't have any time to govern anymore. The poem was about to teach us that it is not good to be busy fighting for others instead of you to be fighting for your own community. So the poem is trying to say that everyone has the right to be heard. And Neyi Osundari was trying to tell us that the leaders are busy fighting for rivalry, for land and the rest, all because of imperfection and rivalry. Now, the moral lessons for this poem is that it teaches us how to be a good leader, it teaches us how to be a good follower, and it teaches us the African way and the African way of being a leader and being a good follower. Thanks.
My name is Sito Precious. I'm a student of BICO International School and I am in SS2. I am here to speak on the book, give a summary of the book Animal Farm. The book was written by the author George Orwell, and it basically talks about the oppression of animals in the hands of humans. This book can be directly referred to us humans in our own strife, as our fellow humans who are on top or who have higher positions enslave us who are the grassroots. In this book, the book starts off on a basic level, telling us about the sufferings of the animals in the book, how the humans enslave them and force them to work for them day and night endlessly without compensating them properly. Now, the animals are being talked into rebellion by the wisest and the eldest of all of them in the farm, by the name of Old Major, who tells them of his dream of a time when man will be removed from the equation and animals will have control over the wealth which they feel that they have created. This led to a strong rebellion within the animals on the day which they were not fed and beaten by their master, Mr. Jones. This made him to be driven away from the farm, and this constituted a number of events that led to the animals taking control of their own affairs. Now, after the human beings have been removed from the manure farm, which later came to be known as Animal Farm, the pigs, who were the mastermind behind the operation, took charge of the affairs, giving them 7 commandments on the farm. And then, through the course of the book, there were 2 major pigs who were the heroes in the rebellion by the name of Napoleon and Snowball. Snowball, though were of the same or were pigs together, they never agreed upon anything. They always had that conflicting ideas. So Snowball was more supported by the other animals of the farm, which led Napoleon to driving him away and then established a tyrannical rule over the animals. Many of the so-called commandments which had been established were broken by him. Humans tried to regain power in the farm again severally, but the animals succeeded in overthrowing them. Now, towards the end of the book, we can see that many of the animals are trying to rebel against Napoleon's wicked rule, but they were all executed, and this goes against their 6th commandment, which says that no animal shall take the life of another. Now, the animals have a power struggle, but the pigs are emerging victorious. So, as you can see in the end of the book, the animals look at themselves during the time when they were under man and during the time that they are at pig, and look at each other, saying that there is absolutely little to no difference between the wickedness of man and that of the pigs who are in rule of them. So the pigs now, they came up with another rule which states that all animals are equal, but some animals are more equal than others. Now, what I have learned from this book is that there must be courage. Someone must have courage to be able to achieve their goals. Animals without their courage, they will not be able to rebel against human beings. And also, when one then tries to bring down another is somebody that is doing something bad, you do not emulate them, because if you do, you will also go down the same way that they have gone down. Thanks.
My fellow students, my name is Daisy Celeste. I'm in SS1. I'm from BICO International School. I'm here to summarize the storybook known as Animal Farm. The Animal Farm is mainly trying to portray politics. Where we are talking about the human, that is Mr. Jones, and the masses of Mr. Major. So, talking about the novel is more of an educational novel. It is trying to tell us that we should have courage. But more or less, Mr. Major is the rebellion builder in the novel, and he was one that started up, building up from little by little, building up the animals to have courage to fend off the humans. So by little by little, they were able to do that. But until little, the pigs started growing into power and overthrew everyone in the animal race. From there, because of act of jealousy and wickedness, Napoleon threw his brother Snowball out of the village in order to seize power. From there, all the rules, all the 7 commandments that has been made by the pigs, he broke almost all of them, including the one that said that no pig, no animal will kill any other animal. From there, he made up another rule which said that all animals are equal, but there are some animals that are more equal. With this novel, I realized that the moral story are equality for all. We must always be equal. No one is higher than the rest. And we must have boldness in the face of danger. We must never show.
Good day, my friends. Good day, my name is Ebu Joshua. I'm in SS2 class, and the name of my school is BICO International. I'm here to talk on the novel Second Class Citizen. This book is trying to tell us of how this protagonist, Ada, was struggling in life, which her mother and her parents didn't want her to go to school. Ada, when she was giving birth, when they gave birth to her parents didn't take the record of the hospital she went to and the date she was giving birth. So she took that she was 8 years. Then so her mother and her father didn't allow her to go to school, and she was not happy because her younger siblings were allowed, who are boys, to go to school. So she was annoyed. So one day when she took her younger brothers to school, from there she sneaked into the school. She sat next to a boy who had control, and she said she will never forget about it till she finished school. So when school closed, she was not happy so she went to the teacher, Mr. Cole. So the teacher bought for her fried plantain and asked her what was the problem. She told Mr. Cole that her parents didn't allow her to go to school. So Mr. Cole said that he would help her to advise the parents. So when they reached home, Mr. Cole advised the parents advised the parents to let her to go to school. So the father agreed, but the mother, who is very stubborn, still didn't want to agree. So later on, they allowed Ada to go to school. Then the father died, which made the father's brother to marry Ada's mother. Then Ada went to stay with her auntie. So from there, her auntie then said that let her go to school. Then when she finished secondary school, she will get married. That will help them. The boy will give them money. So when Ada at SS3, Ada could not get the money to write her work.
My name is David.
and I'm a student in BICO International School, SS2. I'm here to present on a poem, The Leader and the Led. The Leader and the Led is written by Niyi Osundare. He was born in 1947 and attended the University of Ibadan and was born in Ikare, Ekiti. He got a bachelor degree in English. Now, what this poem is trying to tell us is that it's trying to tell us about the violence of the government, that some are calm, while some are violent, and some are trying to take the lead of the country. Example, APC and PDP, they are the opposing teams of the country. Now, he said that the hyenas are, he said that the two elephants, when they are fighting, the ground suffers. This means that when the two opposing teams are fighting over the country, it is the masses, that is the people, that will suffer. Thanks.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Max Juanita, and I'm a student in BICO International School. I'm in SS2. I'm here to say a story named The Animal Farm, written by George Orwell. The story Animal Farm is talking about a man called Jones and his farm animals. Jones has a farm, and then animals that he does not treat them very well, and they are protesting that they want freedom, that is not treating them well. The oldest animal, called the pig, told them a story about himself and his family, that he had a dream that they had freedom at the end. After a few days, the oldest animal died, and then they took over, and Snowball and his brother took over the animals. They ruled them, showed them the right way to go. After in the line, his brother then got jealous and took Snowball out of the way, so that he will rule by himself. Then at the end, the animals named the farm Animal Farm. At the end, they changed it to the Minor Farm, because they didn't like the name Animal Farm. This story is telling us about politics, that some people feel they are more higher than others, and it's also telling us about boldness. If Snowball and his brother don't have that courage to change the rules of John, there won't be any name called Animal Farm. Thanks.
Good day all, my name is Obama Michael. I'm a student of SS2 and I'm here to give you a brief summary on the novel Second Class Citizen. Now, the novel Second Class Citizen is written by Buchi Emecheta, who was born in 1944 in Lagos, Nigeria. Buchi Emecheta married at the age of 16 in the year 1962. Now let's look at the novel. The novel is a tale centered on a young girl whose name Ada. Now, Ada's parents never allowed her to go to school. So one day, when Ada's mother was busy doing some minor works at home, Ada sneaked out of the house to go to the school where her neighbor, Mr. Cole, was teaching the class. Now, Ada sneaked into the class, and then Mr. Cole noticed her because he was a huge man. He noticed her and said that he does not see her in school always, that why does she come to school? So he now told her to sit at the back, close to a boy whose body is stinking, who has crocro on the head. Now, Ada was so super upset when the school closed for the day, and Mr. Cole asked her, why are you so upset? Then Ada said that her parents never allowed her to go to school. Was shocked that why would a parent never allow her child to go to school. So Mr. Cole convinced her that she should stop crying, that he would go and meet her parents. She would talk to the parents to allow her to go to school. So Mr. Cole reached their house and convinced Ada's parents to allow her to go to school. But Ada's mother was saying that why would she go to school, because when she was a child she didn't go to school and she wanted the same thing to happen to her daughter. Now Ada's father said that she will go to school, that he will be the one to sponsor the two of them. Now Ada went to Methodist school where she began her schooling. Along the line, Ada's father died, and that didn't stop Ada from going to school, trying her dream of becoming a writer. Now Ada's mother was married off, and she had to live with the person her mother married. Now during this, Ada was very angry that her mother kept her at home, and Ada's mother friend was convincing her that why will she take her daughter to school, let her just leave her at home, that a woman's place is only left for in the kitchen. So that is all. And the mother was saying that let them just take her to school, that the more she starts with school, as if she can learn how to write and count, the dowry that will be paid on her head will be huge. So they took her to school. Ada studied in a junior secondary school and a senior secondary school. Now Ada's stepfather gave her money to buy some things in the market. Now Ada was saying that she will use that money to enroll for her senior WAEC. Now she used the money, and when she reached home, she said she would tell the stepfather that I lost the money. So when she reached, she now told the father that I lost the money. The father continued beating her mercilessly and said why would she lose the money like that. Meanwhile, Ada didn't lose the money, she used it to enroll for her senior WAEC. Upon all the beating, Ada was super stubborn and used that money, enrolled for the WAEC, and she passed her WAEC. Now the money that Ada was supposed to have used, Ada never had money to go to the university. So her mother then decided to look for a suitor. She looked for a suitable suitor for her to get married. Now upon all man they looked for, none of them could fit Ada. Then Ada found a man named Francis Obi. Ada married Francis Obi, and the both of them traveled to the UK. In this love story, Ada didn't love Francis Obi, and Francis Obi never loved Ada, because Francis Obi was an accountant. He was studying in school, while Ada was originally, to the man, Ada was an housewife. Now Ada is the one that will teach. Ada is the breadwinner of the family. Instead of Francis Obi to be, Ada will be the one taking him to school, training him, fostering his education, feeding the children, paying the children's school fees, and all of those things that men do. Now Ada was super upset, saying that why will she be the only one doing all these things? Can't he just help at all? Then Ada had to break up the marriage. Then due that, Ada had to go and foster her own dreams, becoming a writer, and then she graduated into becoming a librarian. Thanks. Now the moral lessons gotten from this second class citizen is that Ada is determined to go to school. So now the next one is Ada is hardworking. Third, she's a very stubborn girl, that when they will tell her to do something, she will do the opposite of that. Thanks.
I'm from BICO International School. I'm here to talk on the novel Second Class Citizen, written by Uche Emelicheta. The novel is talking about a girl called Ada, whose dream was to go to school, but her parents didn't allow her. During those days, it was only boys that are allowed to go to school. So one day, when her mother was distracted, she left the house and went to Mr. Cole's class, which was one of her neighbors. Went into the class, and the man told her to go and sit next to a boy. She sat that there. So when school closed, she was very upset because the school closed on time. So Mr. Cole asked her what's the problem. So she told him that her parents didn't allow her to go to school, which the police also intervened, and the police punished her mother for child neglect, and and her mother was forced to sell one of her colorful wrappers to send Ada to school. Unfortunately, Ada's father died. Ada was forced to go and live with her mother's uncle, and her brother boy was asked to live with her father's cousin. Ada continued going to school. One day, her father's uncle gave her money to buy something in the market, but she had to use the money to enroll for her examination. And her uncle flogged her because she told him that she lost the money. But unfortunately, she used the money to enroll for her examination, which she got a scholarship into the Methodist Girls Grammar School. So she continued going. She schooled until she married to Francis Obi, and she got a job as a librarian, which she used the money she got every month to send Francis Obi out of the country to UK. She gave birth to 2 children, which she used the opportunity to tell Obi's parents that she wants to go out to the country to meet Francis. She later went there. She and Francis lived, and she also got a job outside the country as a librarian, which she worked and used the money to pay Francis school fees, take care of the children and the family. She was the breadwinner of the family. Unfortunately, she and Francis later divorced. What the cause of the divorce was that she wrote a novel called The Bride Price, which Francis hated, and he burnt the novel, which made her to break up with Francis, to divorce Francis and move on. But Francis kept on coming to her and tormenting her life, which one day Francis came to her house with a knife, which wanted to kill her, but with the help of one of their neighbors called David, helped her, which she had to run. What I learned from the novel is that we should always be hardworking and be bold, and we should always do what we want to do, and we should never give up. Thanks.
Good day everyone, my name is Nibu Anointed and I'm in SS2. The name of my school is BICO International School, and I'm here to talk in the novel named Second Class Citizen. This novel was written by an author called Uche Emechata. She was born in the year 1944. About the novel. The novel is talking about a girl named Ada who was born in Lagos at the Second World War II. When they gave birth to her, they did not record her birth certificate and where she was born, because her parents were expecting a male child. So in those times, female children were not allowed to go to school. So one day when her mother was distracted, she snuck out to Mr. Cole's class. When Mr. Cole saw her, he told her to go and sit down with a boy who was purple, and she said that she will never forget that day. When she came back, she saw 2 policemen in her house beating up her mother and forcing her mother to drink garri with sugar, garri and water, because she did not allow her because of child neglect. So later on, her parents allowed her to go to school. She started going to school. Later on, her father died. So her father's brother had to marry her mother, and they sent her brother boy to go and live with his father's cousin. And later on, one day, her uncle, that is her stepfather, gave her some money to buy meat. Instead of her buying the meat, she carried the money and went to go and enroll herself for senior YA. When she came back, she told her uncle that she lost the money. Her uncle beat her up mercilessly for losing the money. Instead, she used it to enroll for YA. She passed in flying colors. Then later on, she got married to a man named Francis Obi. Francis was still going to school. He had not become a graduate. She later got a job as a librarian. She was the one providing all the food for the family, taking care of Francis in school, providing for the children's school fees, paying the house rent, and the rest. Thanks. My moral lesson is that we should learn how to be bold, and we should be free to express ourselves in any way or in anything we do. Thanks.
My name is I'm from BICO International School. I'm here to give a brief summary on the novel Farm Animals. This book is telling us on the story on farm animals where animals were rebelled on human farmers, hoping to create a society where animals can be free, happy, and equal. Ultimately, the rebellion was being betrayed, and the farm was bad. It was as bad as it was before. My moral lesson I learned from this novel is that we should be bold. Inequality against law. Thanks.
Good everybody, my name is John Godwin. I'm here to present a subject, the second class citizen, and written by Michi and Ichi in 1994. This story tells us about a young girl named Ada who was not going to school because her father, in her family, they say that all ladies are not allowed to go to school because they normally end up in the kitchen. This was so sad because Ada always wanted to become a writer. So one day Ada sneaked out from the house and went to school. So when they closed, Ada was so sad because they closed early. So the teacher saw and asked her why she sad. Then she now said that once she gets home now, her friends will beat her out because her father said that girls and ladies are not allowed to go to school. So the man now went to the girl's house and then convinced her mother and her father to let them be allowing her ladies to go to school because they can, so that let them get educated in life. So Ada's mother was so angry that she now left the house. So Ada's father now started sponsoring her in school till she now died. Then Ada now went to her auntie's house to stay there. So when they were not staying there, then auntie now said that let her be going to school. That once she now reached SS3 that they will now drop her, then she go and get married. So when Ada now reached SS3, then her father now sent her uncle now sent her message to go to the market. Then she now came back, now told her that the money, because meanwhile she hid it so that she used it and write her wire. So when Ada now wrote her wire, then she now came out and passed in flying colors. So Ada's uncle now went to go and select the man that she wanted to go and marry. But out of all of them, Ada did not marry any of them because none of them was her type. So she now decided to choose Francis Obi, who was still studying in accounting. So she now said that this is her only chance for her to go to school since Francis Obi is already going to school. So she now decided to marry Francis Obi. Then when she now married Francis Obi, they now traveled to UK to go and study for Francis Obi education. So Ada was now sponsoring Francis Obi to school. Then Ada now got pregnant, now gave birth, now born 2 children. Now Ada was now sponsoring the 2 of them and the Francis Obi. Ada now became the head of the family. So when Ada was now doing this, then Francis Obi was still in UK, Ada was still in Nigeria. Then Ada now decided to travel to UK to go and live with Francis Obi. When Ada got there, she found out that Francis Obi only rented one apartment. So Ada was not angry because Ada would have been sending Francis Obi money for her to rent a house, a portable house for she and the children with Francis Obi. So Ada now got angry, now left the house because she was angry because of what Francis Obi did. What the moral lesson I want to give and tell about this story is that we should be bold and have courage in what we are doing, and we should be brave in whatever we are doing. Thanks.